Howdy, algebra students. Hopefully you are all enjoying your one extra hour of sleep that you have because of daylight savings time being over. With that one extra hour, you can use it to solve word problems involving proportions. So let's learn how to do that. So everything that we're doing today is going to extend on what we learned last week. We're just going to set up a proportion and then you can solve it by cross multiplying. For one of these, I'll show you kind of another logical way of applying it, but you can always just use cross multiplication if you want. So let's look at a couple examples. A family of 6 decides to go to the Timberwolves game. Their upper level tickets cost $144. Let's put another 0 in there for the cents. Find the cost for a group of 15 friends to go to the Timberwolves game with upper level tickets. So we're going to kind of make a big leap in an assumption here, and we're going to say that all upper level tickets, they cost the same amount. If you actually search for tickets, they don't all cost the same amount. The ones in the center of the court usually cost more. The ones at the end of the court usually cost less. So we're making the assumption all the upper level tickets, they're going to cost the same amount. So what we can do is we know that 6 family members can go there for $144. I can set that up as a ratio, and we can say that 6 tickets will end up costing $144. So we take the information that we know, we write it as a ratio. Now it says to find the cost for a group of 15 friends. So if you've got 15 friends that want to go, they're going to need 15 tickets. So we are going to make sure that we match up tickets on the top with tickets on the top. So we're going to put the 15 tickets here. And then it's asking how much money is that going to be? We don't know how much it's going to be, so we're going to call that X. So we know that 6 tickets cost $144, and we want to know how much 15 tickets will cost. So hopefully you see that the tickets will match with the tickets, and the dollars will match with the dollars. We're going to solve for how much money it costs. To solve this, we can just use cross multiplication, everything that we learned last week. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. So we are going to start with 6 times x, and that gives us 6x. And then we are going to take 15 times 144, and that's going to equal 2,160. And now we just have a one-step equation. Divide both sides by 6. And if we divide by 6, we end up with x equals $360. And there's your final answer. So for 15 people to go to the Timberwolves game, it's going to cost $360. Now, a couple questions you might have before we move on to the next one. Well, what if you had set it up differently? Maybe you had set it up with the dollar amount on top. If it costs $144 for 6, I'll abbreviate it TIX. How much money does it cost for 15 tickets? So what if you had flipped these around and you put the dollars on top and you put the tickets on the bottom? Well, let's see what happens. If you take 144 times 15, that's just what we did here. We get 2160. If we do 6 times x, that's exactly what we have here. So you just get the exact same equation. So it doesn't matter which one you put on top, which one you put on bottom at first. As long as the units end up matching up, you're going to be fine. I do want to show one other way of solving that problem that just kind of has some logic involved to it. So I'm going to erase that part. If 6 tickets cost $144, you could very easily just take 144, divide it by 6, and you're going to get $24. And that's for one ticket. So if we have 15 tickets, you could take 24 times 15 tickets, and that's just going to equal 360. That's another way that you could do this. It won't always work out where those numbers are nice and easily like that. So whichever way you prefer is fine. Cross multiplying will work every single time. And let's do one more example. We have a spooky goblin giving out candy for Halloween and has seen 48 kids in 1.5 hours. How many kids would the spooky goblin expect to see over a span of 3.5 hours? So again, we're making the assumption that all of these kids are going to be trick-or-treating at the same rate. They're going to keep a steady stream of kids for those 3.5 hours. There won't be more at 6 o'clock and less at 8 o'clock. It's just the same amount over the whole time. So we have, let's set up a ratio. They have seen 48 kids over a span of 1.5 hours. And we want to know, how many kids would the spooky goblin see over 3.5 hours? So that 3.5 hours, should that go on the top? Should that go on the bottom? You're right, it should go on the bottom because the hours should match with hours, and we put those on the bottom. So we're going to put 3.5 hours on the bottom, and we're going to solve for the number of kids, which is x. In order to solve this, we can just do our favorite cross multiplying. So we're going to start with 48 times 3.5. 48 times 3.5 gives us 168. Then we put equals, and then we cross multiply the other way, 1.5x. To solve this, we're just going to divide by 1.5, and we end up with x equals 112 kids. So if you're like me and the spooky goblin gives out full-size candy bars for Halloween, that might get kind of expensive, seeing 112 kids over a span of 3.5 hours. So for every one of these problems, all you're going to be doing is setting up a ratio, take the information from the problem, make sure the units match up, and then solve by cross multiplying. The password, you probably want to know the password for this week. So to get into the assignment, there's going to be a password, and the password is going to be, let's find something in this. Okay, we're going to put, I have this thing here. It's a candle. So that candle will be the password. So your password for this week, I'll write it right here. CANDLE. So in order to take this assignment, you need to know the password candle. So good luck on this assignment. If you are able to solve all these word problems, you're doing great. And we will move on to review next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.